Welcome to the Greatness Together podcast. Curious minds unite. Mother-daughter conversations that delve into the heart of psychology. Thanks for joining us.
I was skimming along in my psych pages, psych lecture,
Glad to hear it.
Student, yeah.
Yes.
Always turning up, showing up, A's up.
A's up.
And this concept I found very interesting, popped out to me.
Zoomed up? Zoomed up, zoomed in?
What are these weird
Grabbed
phrases
your
we're
attention?
making up? Yeah.
It grabbed her attention.
Yeah, really took it. So,
Took it.
and I was like, podcast. There we go. Gonna tell the mother goose.
Gosh, I've got such a buildup of anticipation.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about this earlier in our comparisons episode, but this is just kind of like a subheading of it,
Are we going deep?
Yeah.
We're going deeper.
Yeah. It was quite general before, but now we're getting specific. So this week we're talking about upwards versus downwards comparison. So downwards comparison is where we compare ourselves or our situations to people's that are lower to kind of elevate our self-esteem and well-being, because we're like, oh, well, at least my situation isn't that bad. Like, oh yeah, I might not like my day job, but at least I don't have like an overnight job. Like, at least I get like a good sleep schedule. I don't know, first thing that came to mind.
Right.
And upwards comparison is when we compare our situations to situations that are like higher or more successful than us. And it could either be a good thing or a bad thing, because good thing, upwards comparison could be good or bad, because if you look at someone's situation and you're like, oh wow, I don't have that, I'll never have that. Like, if you look at it from that standpoint, you're like, that's a negative one. But if you look at someone's standpoint as kind of like motivation or like setting goals, that is like a more ideal, more positive way to look at it. And the most successful upward comparison is when the goal is actually attainable. So if you're like a rando small city kid who is looking at like the success and knowing of like Jennifer Lopez, and you're like, I need that life, I want to be a celebrity and everything like her. That's not very realistic, because like, I don't know, the likelihood of getting like famous is not very big. So it's got to be attainable. It's got to be within your reach. Maybe become mayor of your small town or something,
Although probably Jennifer Lopez would say that she didn't have a lot of role models, and there were a lot of haters and doubters, and there's probably still a lot of haters and doubters. So I wonder if also part of the upward comparison is that it may force you to get really clear on how badly do you want it. I actually wonder if the upward comparison is less healthy if it is a very, very nebulous, like abstract concept. So when you're scrolling on social media and you think, oh, look at all of these people with the perfect bodies. Well, who and what are they doing to achieve it? And do you really want it? If it's this vague notion of I'm not good enough, or I should be like that, I guess that would be, yeah. So that's probably unhealthy upward comparison. But to your point around if you're setting a goal, so if let's say you look at Jennifer Lopez and you think, okay, I got to go to dance class, I got to work on my fitness, I got to, like you get super specific, then maybe that's a very healthy part of upward comparison.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I feel like our situation and our standpoint really depends on what we're comparing to. If it's downward, yeah, we're probably gonna feel better about it. But if it's upward, you're like comparing yourself to that person's like newest bag you have, you're gonna feel worse.
Right.
When you might have a nicer bag than the other person. I don't know.
Well, and comparing yourself to stuff, like somebody having more stuff, I also think is like a zero-sum game, because there'll always be somebody who has more stuff. But why does having a goal matter to you? Do you know what I mean? Like some people, obviously, I'm not trying to minimize that. If you, let's say, have grown up with very little, you had poverty, and so maybe having that bag is a source of, I finally made it. But that's an internal thing. That's a comparing yourself to your internal goals and making it, as opposed to just like, I want another bag because somebody else has it. Like, I don't think that would be that healthy.
Yeah, no. No, yeah, I always like, if I ever find myself comparing, I'm always like, am I upward or downward? And I really do think that our like psychological state or our standpoint like depends on what we're comparing to. And yeah, I always try to like, if I'm upward comparing and I'm like, oh, I really want that, I'll try to like make like
Hierarchical?
hierarchical goals.
Okay.
Like
First.
attain this small thing, and then this small thing, this small thing, and then till I get to that goal. If you want that newest bag, maybe your starting point would be like writing a resume or finding like a side hustle to do, so you could like get the money for that bag.
Yes. So it's almost like, I think what I'm hearing you say is that when you use it as an intentional way, you use it as a very concrete, very specific goal setting system, as opposed to just simply upward comparison. Like you feel badly because you look out there and you think, oh, everybody else has it figured out. Everybody else has better things than I do. Or downward, like, I'm better than everybody else. Look at all these people. And you don't maybe elevate the group of people you're in, or you don't elevate your expectations in life because you want to be like the best. You want to be the most powerful. So some of this almost feels like, who do you want to be in the world, and how your comparison and what you do with it can be a force for healthy, positive momentum, or it can make you feel very negative about yourself or get you very stuck in your life, which those two options are not good.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was like, wow, there's really no good way, upward or downward. And then I was like, comparing yourself isn't good at all. And
So when you talk about your own, when you do the upward downward comparison, it sounds like you do that as a check-in, but then you don't stay there. You go internal and you say, so if that matters to me, what am I going to do about it? So I wonder if the healthy part of it is it's a mechanism to gauge where you're at and what you want, and then you turn it inwards, as opposed to staying outwardly comparison focused. Would that be fair to say?
yeah, just be mindful and be reflexive and considerate, understanding and stuff. Or just don't compare.
You know what? I think, yeah, that's right. Be mindful of comparison. Try to not let that run the show. And we'll just do a callback to an episode that we had around feminism, where you want to also have good role models. And so maybe that's the other part of this that we could dive into in a future episode, is the importance of having mentors and role models and people that you can see yourself in, that it doesn't become an unrealistic comparison. So go maybe encourage people to push outside their comfort zone, push people to see their greatness as well, so that if they are downwardly comparing, help them see that they actually are people that others aspire to be. And I think it comes back to recognition. Simone, what do you think?
Always and forever.
Always and forever.
Recognize others' greatness.
Forever recognize others' greatness. Forever recognize others' greatness. And I'm recognizing my Simone's greatness. This is our last podcast that we're filming before she goes to Australia. So you can tune in for more episodes, though, because we will be doing them over Zoom so that we can find out all about her cool experiences in her life on the other side of the world.
Down under.
Down under, down under. Simone, thank you so much for being part of these. This is episode number 14.
Cray.
Next, 15, the episode number 15 celebrations on the Zoom room across the world.
So hyped.
So hyped. Peace.
Ciao.
Thanks so much for joining us for the Greatness Together podcast. Never miss an episode. Subscribe wherever you catch your podcasts. Yours in greatness, Simone and Sarah.